Welcome to the Harpswell Select Board meeting of Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Any changes to the agenda here? Chrissy, anything new?
No, I'm going to add one item under the administrator's report, and then we have one under other business having to do with waiving a disposal fee at the recycling
Yep.
center. Request for waiving.
Yep. All right. Public comment? Nope. Select Board's announcements?
I got a couple. At 11 a.m. on Monday will be the Memorial Day Parade over at Harpswell Center, and the road will be closed from 10:45 to about noon there to allow the parade to happen. Secondly, after Memorial Day is when the commercial fishing industry really starts to ramp up. Guys are launching boats, setting traps, stuff like that. So just be mindful on the roads. If you see a guy towing a big boat there, they're going slow, don't pass them. Be a little patient with them and stuff like that. It's a real safety concern. And don't pull in between the boat and the truck, because that's the guy whose boat it is following it. He likes to keep a close eye on it. Thank you.
David?
Nope, I'm
All
all
right.
set.
Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by saying that we, the interview team for the communications specialist and the assessing assistant, we're recommending Amelia Graham-Wazinski. We have been working to fill some vacancies here at the town office, and we are proposing Amelia because she has been the top candidate in both the communications area and the assessing area. So we're recommending that we meld those two positions and create a full-time position because of the skill sets of this person. And I think she's going to do a wonderful job for the town of Harpswell. Her prior work experience has been at the Harpswell Heritage Land Trust as a Director of Communications and Development, so she's got some great skills. She also has some ArcGIS skills that will be beneficial to the town, so we're recommending that you move forward with our request that you support this hire and that she would start at a rate of $24.50 per hour, and it would be effective Tuesday, May 27th.
I so move.
I second.
Any discussion? Nope. All in favor?
Thank you. Second item I wanted to make note of is the third national cell carrier is putting equipment on the Mitchellfield Tower. So T-Mobile is installing equipment. It's expected that it will be functional by late summer. So we know Verizon is now on there and AT&T has been on there from the beginning, but this will be the third carrier. And pursuant to the town's agreement with Blue Sky Towers, we receive $35,000 of revenue sharing whenever a new major carrier comes on. So that's good news to the town. We have not received that yet, but we will know when the system is functional because we will get that money at that time. And so I wanted to put that out there for people. Also want to give a brief update on LD 1864. It's a bill that the town of Harpswell introduced to the Maine legislature having to do with allowing commercial fishing infrastructure that was damaged during the January 2024 storms to be rebuilt and not have to meet Maine law when it comes to there's a criteria for a variance that's called reasonable return. And in Maine, that has been, the courts have decided that that means if you can pitch a tent on your property, you have reasonable return. And under our floodplain management ordinance, you cannot replace something that was damaged by more than 50% on a dock or a wharf if it's larger than 200 square feet. So these fish houses in Harpswell or these commercial fishing operations that were damaged were generally larger than that, and they could not meet Maine law currently. So we submitted this very narrow bill to the legislature. Select Board member Gilly went up recently, myself and our town planner. We testified before the Joint Standing Committee on Housing and Economic Development. We got a really good reception at the public hearing, and we took note of some of the comments that were made at the public hearing. And the committee seemed to say, well, we'd like to expand this bill so that it can help other coastal communities. We then submitted an amendment to the committee prior to its work session, and the committee voted unanimously ought to pass on the revised bill, which just sweeps in more coastal communities. Again, it's very narrow because it's tailored only to structures that were damaged in the January 2024 storms. But I think it's legislation that we can build on going forward. And we have some particular people that really would like to move forward with projects, but they find that they're unable to do so. So we will continue reporting on this LD and are very hopeful that it's going to pass in this legislative session. I don't know if you'd like to add more to that?
No, I think you summed it up perfectly.
Okay,
It
yeah.
should go to gavel.
Yeah, it gets to get voted on under the hammer there because it was unanimous, so that shouldn't even have a debate on it. It should pass pretty quick.
Yeah, we're learning some of the intricacies of Maine law, and it's gone to the revisor's office, I believe, so
Yep.
I don't know if it has to come back to the committee.
It will come
once
back to
that
the
language
committee and they'll
been-
vote to
has-
approve the
yeah,
new
yeah,
language review.
yeah. So anyway, I think things are moving forward in a positive way on that front. And then the last item I have under the town administrator's report, we have been taking our time trying to find the right person for code enforcement. And because of that, we still have a vacancy in that office for our second code enforcement officer position. A lot of the workload has fallen on the assistant in that office, so I do want to recommend it to the board that you consider a salary adjustment or wage adjustment for Denise Perry as as a code enforcement assistant, $2 an hour extra back to January 1, because we have been without a second code officer since that time. We're still interviewing, we're still looking for the right candidate, and I think that this individual deserves that extra compensation for taking on so many additional responsibilities.
Will this be until we hire a new codes officer, or what's your
I would
thought?
say that's very likely, but I don't have a specific date for you at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, she's absolutely worth it. I mean,
yeah.
she's been
She's
working
running
hard, and
Yeah.
I move that we do that.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Thank you. That concludes my report.
All right. Consent agenda.
I'll move that old consent agenda for it's the approval of the minutes, election worker appointments, accept a safety grant award, which I haven't seen yet, but I understand that we've got it. The ratio, 2025 ratio declaration form, and the steward appointment for the town lands, and the authorization of the warrants.
I second everything David just said.
See no discussion? All in favor? Potts Point Wharf, final insurance settlement and bid package.
So I really do want to recognize our harbor master, Paul Plummer. He's here tonight. Again, we're going back to the January 2024 storms when the town lost its dock at Potts Point. We've been in discussions with the insurance company since that occurred. We have received 2 payments to date from the insurance company. One was just under $27,000. Another was close to $69,000. We had not yet settled the claim. We were still waiting for a dock building company to provide an updated replacement cost value to the insurance company. That's now been provided, and they are offering us essentially the final settlement here tonight in front of you. And we, the staff, would like to, suggest that the board, assuming you're in agreement with us, that you would accept this final figure of $14,716.14. We did have a $15,000 deductible. We're still in discussions with FEMA about whether or not we will see that deductible covered by FEMA. And in addition to these insurance payments, we are working with FEMA on what we're calling mitigation items, and we can talk about that when we get to the bid. But FEMA has indicated that it would consider paying for these additional items that would make the structure more secure and resilient in the future. But this number right here would be settling our claim with the insurance company. If you want to vote to accept that.
I move that we accept the claim.
Second.
All in favor? Good work, Paul.
Thank you.
All right. New Fisheries Committee and draft.
Well, wait, we still have to do the bid package.
We got
Oh,
to
that's
go
right.
RFP.
Potts Point
Sorry about
Dock.
that.
So we know we have a lot of interested folks wondering what our timetable is for replacing the Potts Point Town Dock. We are getting our permits right now. We don't have all our permits in place, but we've hired Tim Forrester, the Select Board hired Tim Forrester's company to put together our permit requests, both to the state DEP and to the Army Corps, and he's also working on the town's permits as well. The design that you have in front of you is for option 2, and that would be to make this dock 6 feet wide. We'd go from 4 feet to 6 feet. It would be up to 4 feet higher than the previous dock. It would potentially include an additional float, an 8 by 24-foot float, a couple of mooring blocks to secure that extra float, and an aluminum ramp that would be 4 feet by 50 feet. When you look at the request for proposal that we put together, there's a scope of work, and 1 through 5 is basically getting the dock rebuilt. The add-ons are items 6, 7, and 8, being the additional float, mooring blocks, and the aluminum ramp. Those are the items that FEMA has suggested it's open to reimbursing the town for. So the voters at our annual town meeting did approve up to $200,000 from our fund balance to use for this project, and also approved any additional insurance money we might receive and FEMA proceeds. So we believe that, you know, it's time to put the project out to bid. We're hopeful that we get some responses by July 7th. And once we have permits in hand, we would ask the board to move forward with signing a contract. And hopefully, construction could start probably in the fall. It would depend on, you know, companies and the docks they already have on their schedule. But, you know, we've heard from some that they would make an effort to try to move the town's project up if they could.
If not, we'll sick all the neighbors down there on them.
But, you know, it's not going to be ready for this season, essentially.
No. Well,
People have to
let's
understand
get her
that.
done.
Sooner we get it done, the better,
I
though.
move we go up for the RFP.
I second it.
Any discussion? I don't see any. All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, now we go New Fisheries Committee.
Did you want to take?
I created a mission statement, or I should give credit where credit is due. I put some words down and Paul formulated it into a mission statement for me. So thank you, Paul.
You didn't use AI?
No, not for this one.
Sort of.
Yeah, this is artificial intelligence.
Not at all.
And I'm open to any suggestions the board may have for it, and I'm open to names for the committee too, if there is.
Are you keeping the ones that I put on initially, or?
We spoke at our last aquaculture meeting, and everybody was encouraged to apply that was on that group. There was a couple of people that said they didn't have interest in continuing.
Oh, okay.
And I doubt they would apply, but for the majority of the group did seem like they wanted to apply.
It was a good group.
Yeah, it was.
Good mix.
And I think the only other thing I would add is if we accept the mission statement, just with the way timing and the vote and everything goes, I think we could potentially start accepting applications, couldn't we, once we approve the mission statement? And then that way we have applications on file for after the June 10th vote, we can just implement the committee and assign all the members at that point because we'd have their applications on hand.
Yep.
Well, I've read it 3 or 4 times. I like it, sure.
And the only other thing I guess I might add is if you guys are okay with it, I'd like to be the liaison. And I mean, I'd lose
Go for it.
aquaculture.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'd lose aquaculture because that committee would end, or that work
Yeah.
group would end, so this would
Just
take
work
its
group.
place.
Yeah.
Makes total sense,
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, you can have it.
You don't want a duel for it or anything?
No, I guess not. Do we need a motion to,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yes,
Well, I move
yeah.
that we accept this as the mission statement.
Can I second it?
Yeah,
I second it.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Yeah. All right, request to refund mooring fee.
Speaking of the town dock,
You got a town dock. Actually, you nipped this one in the bud pretty quick.
Good evening, Paul Plummer, the town's harbor master. So there was a request from an individual who did not want to pay the fee at all, considering there was no access point
is that mic on?
in there. It's on, yes,
on, okay.
just not talking into it. And they were already late in their payment. They paid after the May 1st deadline, so they did submit their two $50 payments, but they are refusing to pay the late fee because they said there's no access point for them to even get to their moorings.
We still have a boat launch there, correct?
We do.
Thank you.
And floats have been installed this week with a haul-off system that will be installed by the weekend.
Wait a minute, and we provide a dinghy on that haul-off?
The group, the dinghy users down there provide a
They have-
communal
Yeah.
dinghy to use on the haul-off, yeah.
Let me make it simple. My motion is no, pay your late fees, and if he doesn't, Paul, you summons him.
Well, and as you've discussed with me that there's a waiting list of people, and if they don't keep up with their mooring, they're liable to lose it, and somebody else will
Yeah,
jump in.
Moorings are a privilege, not a right.
Yeah.
That's something that should be remembered. And there's another thing that should be pointed out in the letter. Mooring registrations go out at the same time as boat registrations. January 1st, you can register your mooring. January 1st, you can register your boat. So,
you get 5 months.
Yeah, Peter mentions that in here, that
right, and they are the
Same
same time. You can do them at the same time, just like he wants to. So I don't see any reason. I'll second Kevin's motion. Basically, is where I'm going with it.
all right.
Any discussion?
Peter's a friend of mine, I mean, but when you're right, you're right, and when you're wrong, you're wrong, so, whatever.
You gonna spit it out?
Well, whatever.
All right, I'll second it.
Oh, I thought you motioned it and I seconded
made
it.
the motion.
Second. I'm just
Why is
waiting for you
everybody
to say
looking at
something.
me?
All right, all in favor? There we go. Now you can do it. All right, deed of gift.
So, Mr. Chairman, I want to introduce Dennis Wilkins. He's a painter who lives on Bailey Island, and he has a painting that he would like you to consider
It broke.
accepting as a gift.
Yeah. A glass broke. I'll have to replace.
We get a drum roll. I'm not very good at the drums.
Let me do it.
Okay. Well, I have, I wanted to give a gift to the town, and I hope I have one minute to read the story. Last year, I painted an individual portrait of each of 6 lobstermen. It was my way to honor them and to show respect for what they contribute to the Maine we all love. That project generated much satisfaction and good community feelings, and I began to wonder if a further step might be taken. Inspiration came when I looked at Rembrandt's painting called The Syndics of the Drapers Guild, and I have a picture of it here. It's a group portrait of 6 businessmen during the Dutch Golden Age of economic and cultural dominance, and it's painted in a large format, 6 by 9 feet, and it's next to a sample of their trade, a drape draped over a table. They were men of their time and place whose portrait was publicly displayed in the Guild Hall. So the challenge I set for myself was to echo this work of Rembrandt's, to paint a group portrait of our own 6 tradesmen in a large format, 4 by 6 feet, positioned just like the drapers alongside a symbol of their profession. My hope is to have this work on public display, namely Town Hall, as a way to further honor and remember these men, their profession, this time, this place, this Maine. So, left to right, it's George Coffin, Bernie Johnson, Greg Rogers, Brandon Wyman, Chuck Lehman, Clayton Gill. 6 Lobsterman Cove. I live close to me. I wanted to walk down the just asked the first people I came upon if I could take their picture and paint them. And 6 out of the 7 people I approached said yes. And so that's why it's these particular 6. Just luck of the draw, luck of location.
Did you get all 6 of them to sit there that whole time?
Pardon me?
Did you get all 6 of them to sit there while you painted it the whole
Yeah,
time?
Last year,
That's an impressive feat in its own.
well, I had a trick. Last year with the 6 individual portraits, we had a show at the Orr's Island Schoolhouse, and if they didn't show up, they didn't get their portrait.
Oh.
So that's the story. So I hope the town accepts it. And this is a little plaque that names the men, and it gives the story that I just read. And as I just dropped it, I broke the glass, and I'll have to replace it. But this would go with it
Yeah.
right next. So that's what I hope to accomplish.
Well, thank you. Out of the way, but.
So just a little bit of information about the process. The town has adopted a gift ordinance. It allows the select board to accept a gift of $3,000 of value or less. And it also allows you to take public comment before you make a decision. So I don't know if you are interested in, maybe putting this on in 2 weeks since it was unveiled tonight, or if you are
Yeah, we can do that.
prepared to move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and that gives the chance of public, I mean, this is the first time the public's seen it. so-
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Do we need a motion?
No, I think as long as that's the process you
Yeah.
want to follow,
Okay.
so we'll put it on the agenda in 2 weeks.
Just a heads
We will
up.
post this with the agenda. I mean, it will be here if people want to stop by and see it.
Can we post a picture of it so people
Yeah,
can
yeah,
view it
yeah,
on the
yeah,
agenda?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll put it in the, there's a wall back there big enough.
Okay,
And we can maybe let people know that they can come in and view it in person that way if they want them to.
All right, thanks.
thank you.
Wonderful job, that's impressive.
You are talented, I have to say.
All right, letter of support for net energy billing to state legislatures.
So I believe we have the chair of the Energy and Technology Committee, Howard Marshall, here tonight.
So,
He's looking to the board to see if you want to support endorsing an LD that's being discussed at the legislature.
yeah, straighten me out. I've been diving on this for the last 2 days, trying to,
So I'm not here representing the committee so much because this happened after our last meeting, so I haven't had a chance to have a meeting with the committee about it. But it was brought to my attention, and both the town has a solar subscription for the electricity, and a lot of people in town have solar panels, and the justification for going ahead with these things is based on the original implementation of the net energy billing. There are problems with it, but it's being used right now as a justification for, if not repealing it, sabotaging it to the point where it's really not usable. And it's possible that could affect the people who already have solar panels and the town with its contract with the solar farm. So what I'm asking is not so much as to, dive into the details, but to simply, I already sent this letter as as an individual constituent to Senator Daughtry and Representative Golick, and I just wanted to see if the town would endorse the same sort of, please be cautious in this. I mean, that's mostly what I'm saying, is it needs attention, but it's one of these things where you say, well, this isn't working the way we wanted it to. I don't want them to say, so let's get rid of it. I want them to say, so let's review what it's done and see what we can adjust on it. There's too much sledgehammering happening these days. So if I can say one more thing, Dave, I would take this to the Energy Committee and say, let's, talk about it and write something similar from the view of the town. But it's going to the floor of the House or the floor of the legislature really soon. It's been through the committee, and now, I don't think there's time to do that. And if you agree with this and want to, send something, maybe the first 3/4 of this without the little piece at the end saying, I'd love to talk to you more. Yeah. I'm just bringing it to your attention as something you might want to just send to the state rep and senator, saying, please, try to prevent this from being sledgehammered.
Oh, yep. I don't understand what brought the change about anyway. I was trying to.
Okay, so as I understand it, the net energy billing was implemented in, I think, 2019.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it gives an outsized advantage to people putting up solar. And the purpose is to prime the pump so that there would, and it was scheduled that the credits would decrease in value gradually, and that was reversed. And as far as I know, it's still the original implementation. The complaint is that as more and more of this electricity goes into the grid, the people who are using solar are not bearing some of the costs that everybody else is. And so, I mean, that could be adjusted. There's a number of ways that they could do that. And it's still the case that it would be, to the advantage of people who are using solar. But some of the proposals, like I said, instead of repealing it, one of the proposals is to slash the value of the credits to the point where the town would probably end up paying a little bit more because our credits wouldn't be worth as much, but we wouldn't be paying as much for the credits. So it would cost the town probably somewhat more. But the other thing is that what that would do is likely bankrupt the solar farms, which might even mean that the town is now sitting there with these credits and a contract and nobody on the other end of it. And so that's why, it would be good to make sure that it's done cautiously and gradually rather than, oh, it didn't work, let's just, smash it.
Is this CMP trying to recover some of their transmission costs?
No, this is solar companies trying to fund their projects.
No, well, the initial.
Yeah. Well, so what's happening is it was overbuilt, so it worked too well, I guess.
What's happened is it was instituted in 2019, and since 2019, Maine has seen the largest increase in electricity rates in the nation in that time. My electrical bill alone has tripled in that time, and I think everybody else's has as well in town. I personally am not a fan of net energy billing. I would like to see it go away, and I would not support this letter. The fact that solar farms don't even have to test for PFAs when they're installing them, and that bill was quashed at the state level this session, where they were supposed to test for PFAs upon installation and create a baseline study and then go back and check. And they didn't want to look for chemicals. So we know those chemicals are in these panels. If they don't want to do the due diligence, but they want to get the money, I don't agree with that. Like, what harm is being done to the environment? And the harm is certainly being done to the ratepayers because they're the ones footing the bill. 40% of coastal communities, including Harpswell, live on a fixed income. and they cannot afford these electricity bills to continue at the rate they've been at. I do not support net energy billing the way it is.
So if I may, first of all, most of the price increases have been from the cost of fuel.
That's false. Based on information from the state of Maine, 67% of our energy now comes from renewable sources.
I don't believe that.
That's from the state of Maine's energy office.
I can't believe we're anywhere near that. But the CMP rates have not been raised because of solar electricity. The rate increases that I saw, the 80% rate increase was based on the price of natural gas. So it's a complicated issue.
But you can't get rid of natural gas and rely on solely renewables either, because we don't have the storage for renewables.
That's
so
right.
you have to have a backup, and that is fossil fuels. And to completely cut out fossil fuels, we're setting ourselves up for major brownout and blackouts. I've spent significant time on this subject because of offshore wind and all that stuff. I know far too much, or I know far more than I want to know about power generation. And net energy billing has not panned out for the individual in the state of Maine. It's panned out for solar companies, and it's panned out for the people that are wealthier and can afford to put them on their houses and stuff like that. But for the general person on fixed income, they can't afford more rate increases. We have the third most expensive power in the nation now.
I know that, and I bought into a solar field a couple of years ago, and it has reduced my power bill. So, this isn't simply about solar panels on your roof.
No, it's community solar farms as well. It's anything under 5 megawatts.
Yep.
How is ours working out?
Well, we have talked about bringing on a solar consultant to really dig into our situation and see if we're getting the kind of deal that we thought we would get. It's gotten rather complicated, the credit situation.
Yes, it's true. I mean, that's one of the reasons we wanted a consultant to the committee, was to see if we could build our own solar field instead of subscribing to the solar farm, because it's gotten complicated and it's not, it's not been as flexible as was indicated when we signed up for it.
So this letter is simply asking that this isn't a knee-jerk reaction, that this is done, it isn't a hatchet job. It's just done a little more slowly. It's not saying don't get rid of NEB, it's just saying,
I'd like to see it gone, personally, or I'd like to see them do more due diligence, and do more environmental impacts. I mean, we've all seen it if you drive up the road, how many fields have been filled, how many trees have been cut for these solar panels, and I think there's a correct way to do it. Like, I have no issue if we want to line the tops of parking lots with solar panels, line the median of the highway, but let's make sure it's not going to come at the cost of ratepayers and the cost of the environment. And if you're not willing to test for PFAs, when you know your products have PFAs, what are you trying to hide?
so I think what this letter asks for is to look into some of that, rather than just cut it, rather than just stop it, to do some of the due diligence and maybe come out of the other end with a better product. Maybe it's getting rid of it altogether, but do it slowly and not just cut it off.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, too.
Well, I'd be, since Matt doesn't want to put his,
I won't put my name on it. The fishing community wouldn't hold me in high regard.
I'm willing to make it from the Energy and Technology Committee.
Okay?
Well, they haven't met yet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
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 I mean, like I say, this was brought to my attention last week, as it happens right after the last Energy and Technology Committee.
Who was it brought to your attention by, just out of curiosity?
The one of the possible consultants that we interviewed for the Energy Committee to guide us in renewable energy development.
Were they in the solar? And were they in the solar industry?
Yes.
Very much so, yeah.
So they have a conflict of interest, didn't even, I mean, that's their pocketbook that they're trying to protect.
Well, I mean, he's not a solar farm owner. He's not an investor in them. Those are the people who are most likely to get hurt directly. The issue is, what do you do when the solar farms go bankrupt and you have all these people that have contracts with them? He told me that he's seriously thinking of leaving Maine because the volatility in the rules is making it impossible to make any plans. Like I say, I'm just saying that I want to see them do this cautiously. Make changes gradually, look at it, and see where there's a square peg in a round hole and make it round.
I wish when they implemented it, they had used that same caution, and we wouldn't be in the predicament we're in now.
Well, so they implemented something, and now it's time to review it and revise it. It's not just repeal it and say, well, we don't like it, so let's get rid of it. Anyway.
Well, how do we make it official? We can't come up from the Board of Selectmen because we have one who doesn't want to sign it.
Who can sign it?
Who can sign it, yeah. Okay, I move that we,
Can we just agree on what you would sign?
Yeah.
yeah, everything but the bottom where it says, I would be happy to discuss this with you further.
Okay, so the whole,
Except that where it says I, it would say we. So I move that we send this Board of Selectmen as modified to make it more appropriate.
Is that a motion?
Yep.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
One opposed?
opposed?
Opposed, yep.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right. Results of septic system replacement project bids and a contractor recommendation.
So you were provided, is this working? Please just say that we received 6 bids. The septic system is being replaced with the State of Maine grant. 6 bids were received, and the lowest bid is $15,730 from R.A. Weber and Sons. And I did receive approval from the State of Maine today to accept that bid and contract with R.A. Weber and Sons.
Yep.
I move that we go with R.A. Weber and Sons.
I second it. I'm happy to see it's a local company, too.
Well, I think a big thank you goes out to R.A. Weber. They're doing the town a favor.
Oh, big time. You can tell just by the bids.
Oh, yeah. Now, I know what a new septic costs right now.
Yeah, I just bought one 2 years ago.
Yeah. All right. All in favor? Good.
So it is posted online, but I'm happy to go down through that. R.A. Weber, the lowest bid was $15,730. The next was CCC Construction for $22,975. Ford Enterprise, $38,400. Weber Enterprise, $38,467. Harris Kubricki, $40,000. Ray Labby and Sons, $45,300.
Labby was wild. 3 times.
All right. Countersigned MSC 75 district budget referendum warrant.
So this is essentially pro forma. The town select board is asked to countersign the warrant and notice of election, which will be on June 10th, for voters to consider passing the school budget.
We have to make a motion.
Yeah, I think it would be good if you move to.
I move that we sign it.
Yep.
I'll second.
I went to the committee vote the other night. It was quite exciting.
Oh, you went to the budget meeting, huh?
Only took an hour. All in favor?
Great, thank you.
All right. Personal property revaluation contract.
So I think you may recall that the town signed a revaluation agreement with Vision company out of Massachusetts. But in that contract, they said that they would not perform business personal property review. So we sought some alternatives, and we received a proposal from KRT Appraisal. This is a company that the town has used annually to kind of look at assessing matters and advise the town on an annual basis of what our sales have been doing, where we may need to make adjustments. So they're quite familiar with the town's assessing practices, and they are proposing that for $24,000, they will review all of the business personal property accounts. And this is information that will be used for the 2026 tax commitment. It will not be used for 2025.
So you're recommending that we sole source with these?
Yeah, we did receive a second proposal, and it was well above this one. So there aren't that many
Okay.
companies doing this type of work necessarily, and we would recommend that you accept this contract. And we had a second one.
We've worked with them before too, you said?
Yeah, yeah.
And
we
we've
work with
had
them on an
good
annual
luck.
basis, yes.
I move that we go with KRT.
I second it.
Yep. All in favor?
Great, thank you.
Accept donations. All yours, David.
Okay. So I move that we accept donations from Ken Simmons for $250 for the heating project. Anonymous is $50 for Family Swim. Wayne and Nancy Hirsch for the bandstand, $200. Harold Weeks III, $250 for the bandstand, for total donations of $750.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Public comment? No? Other business?
So we had a request from Community Television for the town to waive disposal fees of the old bottle shed that was at the entrance to the recycling center.
This is paperwork, basically. But, yeah, and I will recuse from.
I'll make a motion that we waive the fees.
I'll second it. It's sad to see it go, but I don't think we should charge them to see it go.
No, I think David was trying to do, he started doing bottles.
I can't say I blame him. That place.
And you can imagine, it was,
Do you have, just out of, this is just my own personal curiosity, do you have any idea, like, how much money you guys generated over the years from the bottles?
I don't know about over the years, but in our best year, it was $14,000. In our
That's
best year.
wild.
Yeah.
Multiply that by 5 cents, and figure out how many bottles that is. It's scary how many you handled.
Times,
Yep.
I handled a lot of bottles.
Did I second?
If David was getting,
I
yeah, you
think there
did.
was a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
If David was getting paid, it would have been,
I'd have kept on doing it.
Yeah.
right. All in favor?
Yeah.
All right.
And I recuse.
Okay, thank you. And I did ask the manager what he thought the cost might be, and he said $150. So I don't think it's a huge
Fine.
sum in the scheme of things.
If there's nothing else? No, we're adjourned.
Anything else?
Mary Ann? Gotta be careful.